The first law of reflection says the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. So this is my mirror, and say this is my angle, my incident ray. This is my incident ray. So in order to draw the reflected ray, I need to first draw the normal. So normal is something that is 90 degrees with the mirror. So this is the normal, and then I will draw my angle of my reflected ray. So when I draw it, I make sure that this angle, which is the angle of incidence, is equal to this angle. So if I was 30, then R is also equal to 30. There is one case which is of particular importance. So imagine this is the mirror, and say my incident ray was incident along the normal, which means that your normal is also on top of this line. So since the angle of incidence is the angle which the incident ray makes with the normal, and in this case this is the incident ray, this is the normal, so my angle of incidence is 0. So my law of reflection says I should be equal to R, therefore I equal to 0, which means that this ray, which is incident at 90 degrees, is going to get reflected back along the same line. So let's say we got a problem. This is the mirror, and say they give us an angle of incidence, an incident ray, so this is 30, and they ask us to draw the reflected ray. So in this case, first what you need to do is you need to draw the normal. This is the important line. So you draw the normal, which is at 90 degrees. So this is the normal. So then in that case my angle of incidence is 60, because the whole thing is 90, and then you draw the angle of the reflected ray, and you make that also at 60 degrees with the so what did we have? Initially we had an incident ray like this. So don't just draw the reflected ray, first draw the normal, then get your angle of incidence, and then you get the angle of reflection. Imagine a highly polished surface, a very plain mirror. So in that case the surface is plane, which I have drawn here, and so say these are the incident rays, and they are parallel like that. So what happens is, for the reflection, when I draw my normal, they are also parallel to each other, because the surface, the mirror surface is very smooth. So if I draw my reflected ray, so this is my incident rays, and these are my reflected rays. So the incident rays are parallel and the reflected rays are also parallel. So this is known as regular reflection. So when you're looking at a reflection of your face in a mirror in the morning, then that is a regular reflection. Other than the plane mirror, all objects in your room have got rough surfaces. The wall, the desk, the table, chair, any object. So maybe we can draw this rough surface like this. So even if you may have parallel rays that are incident on the surface like this one, now at every point there is a reflection taking place, but because my surface is now not smooth, my normal will be oriented in different directions. Like this normal may be here, therefore my reflected ray will be like this. And say my other normal here is like this one here, maybe slightly like this. Of course what it is will depend on how you are measuring with a protractor. Then in that case your reflected ray will be like this. And say this one has got this as a normal. Then then your reflected ray is going to be so if you've noticed here, though the incident rays are parallel to each other, the reflected rays are not parallel. Now that does not mean the laws of reflection is not being obeyed. So for this one, if this is I1, this is R1, and I1 will be equal to R1. But here this may be I2 and this is equal to R2. So I1 will be equal to I2 will be equal to R2, and this one may be I3 and this one may be R3. Now this is the kind of reflection that is more important for us, because this reflection is actually irregular or diffuse reflection, which gives visibility to objects in a room. So there you have your parallel reflection, where the incident rays are parallel and the reflected rays are also parallel, and diffuse reflection in which the incident rays are parallel but the reflected rays are not parallel because the reflecting surface is rough. Now let's learn to how we can draw the image for a point object. So this is my mirror. So this is my point object. Point object is say P. Now remember that from this point object, infinite number of rays come. Don't just think there are one or two rays, because if you are here, you are able to see this P if you are here, which means that rays emanate from P in all directions. But we just need to take two rays in order to get the image of P. So the simplest is to take this ray, because we already told you that if the incident ray is along the normal, it reflects along the same path, but you just continue with this. So if this is the angle, the incident ray, then this is also the reflected ray. But the ray appears to come from this. Now then we take one more incident ray. So say we take this incident ray. Then in that case, again you draw the normal, which is 90 degrees. And then you draw the reflected ray again. Now when you reflected ray goes like this, but it appears to come from here. So where the two reflected rays meet, appear to come from, this is your image. And it can be proven. If you read your notes, you will find that this angle, this triangle that we have is congruent to this triangle, and because of that this is equal to this. That means if I say this is O, then your distance of the object from the mirror is equal to the distance of the image from the mirror. So say if you are standing 2 meters in front of the mirror, your image will be 2 meters behind the mirror. So between you and your image, there is going to be a distance of 4 meters. Now this is a slightly more complicated diagram where we try to find the image of an extended object. So once again we have the mirror. Earlier we had a point object, but now say we have got an extended object. So an extended object could be this line A, B. So I need to get my image of this AB as it is reflected by this mirror. So if you just see, A and B has got these 2 points in the extremities, so we will take this as one point and this also as one other point. So as you did in the previous example, we will take, so let me draw this one, say in red. So angle of incidence, so just to be a little more accurate, let me just, so a ray of light that goes normal, we know is reflected back along the same line. So it goes and reflects back along the same line. And we take another ray. So because I am using an app, it's very easy for me to get the angles. So if I say take this as 52 as my angle of incidence, then in your case you'll have to draw the normal and measure it with the thing. But here this allows me to get it. So I just get the reflected ray also at 52. So this is my reflected ray and it appears to come from here. So that means this A prime is the image of A formed by the mirror. So I need to do the same thing with B. So let me just take, for the sake of making things more clear, let's take the blue one. So here in this case again I take another line that is along the normal, so it appears to come, so this is, and comes along this way, and then I take another, so say I take it at 54 degrees as my incident ray. You can take it at any. So this is my incident ray, then my reflected ray will also be at 54. Of course in your case, as I told you, you will have to draw the normal, and so here it appears to come from here. So this is your B. So therefore if I just join these two, this is B prime, the image of B. So this is the image. Now if you just see few things, distance of the object from the mirror is the same as the distance of the image. Also note that the rays actually don't meet here. They only appear to come from A prime and they only appear to come from B prime, which means that the object that we have is a virtual object. And it can also be proven with the basic geometry that the length of AB is equal to the length of A prime, B prime. So three things. Number one thing is that the distance of the object from the mirror is equal to the distance of the image from the mirror. The image is a virtual image, and also the size of the image is the same as the size of the object. Now the other thing is, you must have noticed that when you raise your right hand, the image will raise its left hand, which means that there is an inversion when reflection happens in a plane mirror, in which the right becomes left and the left becomes right. So that kind of an inversion is called lateral inversion. So let's do an example. So say I've got this word AMBULANCE. So how does the image of ambulance appear when reflected in a mirror? So what you need to understand is, you need to first laterally invert the whole word and then also each individual alphabet. Therefore E is to the right, so in the image E will be to the left. So, and that E is of course it has to be laterally inverted. So this C, then you have got N, then you have got A, then L, then U, then B, then M, and then A. So the word ambulance, why is it written like this in an actual ambulance, is so that when this object gets reflected in the rear view mirror of a vehicle, it will appear to the driver to read ambulance. So just note that in lateral inversion, you not only laterally invert each individual alphabet, but first you need to laterally invert the word. Many times the boys make the mistake of laterally inverting A, but they will not change its position. So they will do the lateral inversion of A here, M here, B here, but that is going to be wrong, because you need to first laterally invert the word and then each alphabet in the word. So you can try, for any random alphabets. They say Leonardo da Vinci was an expert in what he called mirror writing. So that's something that you can just read about in the internet.